All right, bring it up. Let's see, we'll have a -3 minus -4 minus a -3. Square that quantity and then minus -3 times -4. So inside here you have a -1, square it to get 1. Double negative gives you a positive, so 3 minus 1. And then back here, double negative is 12, but you have a minus sign. 3 minus 1 is 2, minus 12 should be -10. Johnson, did you have -3 times 6 for this part to get a -18?
Yeah.
And divide it by -9 to get a +2?
Yeah.
So 2 times -3 would be -6. -6 plus 6 is 0. So you just have x, which is -3.
I've put a negative in front of the 6 the first time.
On the first part, did you have 4 squared is 16 times 6 is 96? Oh, that's where you fouled up?
No, I messed up on the same part. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, then the answer for this one is 1. Pick a number. Winning number today should be 2. Homework is 100 points since you had 20 problems. We have 4 people here. 3 got credit for everything, so 75%. Homework answers, and then we'll go through work if we have to. 1 is 33. 2 is 27.5. 3 is 122. 4 is 13. 5 is 45. 6 is 13. 7 is 84. 8 is 14. 9 is 29. 10 is 108. 11 is 9. 12 is 13. 13 is 19.5. 14 is 5. 15 is -17. 16 is -12. 17 is -12. 18 is 65. 19 is 287. 20 is 56. Example 1. A rectangle has an area of 60 square feet and a perimeter of 24 feet. What is the shortest of the side lengths in feet of the rectangle? So here's a rectangle. Has an area of 60 and a perimeter of 24. So you're adding up all of the sides. It would be 2x plus 2y to get 24 if you're adding up all the sides. What is the shortest of the side lengths in feet of the rectangle? What's the formula for area? X times y. So x times y equals 60. Does everybody know how I got 2x plus 2y equals 24? That's the parameter. I just added them all the sides up and then simplified because you have 2x's and 2y's. Okay, now we can do some substitution of some sort to figure out what the shortest side is. Now you could do something with this equation here and then insert it into this, or do something with this equation and insert it into that. I'll go ahead and mess with this one. How about we solve for x in that one? Not for a value, but just set x equal to something. So if I want x by itself, I'll have 2x equals 24 minus 2y, because I have to move the 2y to the right. And then if I divide everything by 2 to get rid of the 2 next to the x, and I divide this side by 2, I'm left with 12 minus y. So x is equivalent to 12 minus y. So since I know that, I can use xy equals 60 and x equals 12 minus y to solve for both x and y, and then figure out which one is the shortest one. So on the next page, that's what I'll do. Remember, we had xy equals 60, and we just found x to be equivalent to 12 minus y. Plug in 12 minus y for x over there. So you'll have to put the y first and then 12 minus y in parentheses. And then set that equal to 60. Now when you do that, you multiply through by y and get 12y minus y squared equals 60. Now what can I do to solve for the y? Well, if we divided everything by 12, then you'd have y squared divided by 12, and that would put us in a bind. I don't think we'd be able to find it. Y squared, y, and a constant. What type of equation does that resemble? Where you have a square? Quadratic, yes. All right. But we have a negative on the y squared. How can we make that a positive?
Move it.
Yeah, we can move it to this side. And we already have a plus 60 there. If we move this over as well, it's minus 12. So 0 equals y squared minus 12y plus 60. And now I can solve the quadratic equation in a number of ways. You can do the quadratic formula, you can try to factor, whatever you think you need to do. Let's try the quadratic formula. So it is y squared minus 12y plus 60, and we'll do that on the next page. Y squared minus 12y plus 60 equals 0. Quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. What's a?
4.
What's b?
Negative 12.
And c?
60.
All right. So put negative 12 in for b. There's a double negative. And negative 12 squared minus 4 times 1 times 60 over 2 times a, which is 1. Look at the discriminant to make sure that you have a chance at a real solution. This is the discriminant here. What's negative 12 squared?
144.
144. What's 4 times 1 times 60?
260.
Not 260.
240.
240. Is 144 minus 240 a positive answer?
No.
No, it's going to be negative. Therefore, that means you have an imaginary solution or a complex number. In other words, the problem is not possible. A rectangle. Same type of problem. A rectangle has an area of 48. And it has a perimeter of 28. Find the shortest of the two sides. What should I do first?
Uh, 2x plus 2y equals 48.
2x plus 2y equals 28, that's right.
And then xy equals 48.
xy equals 48, that's right. Now you can do what I did the last time, or you can mess with the xy equals 48 and plug it into the other equation. We can stick with the same thing that we did before. We can mess with this one. Let's solve this one for x and come up with 2x equals 28 minus 2y, and then divide everything by 2. So you have x equals 14 minus y. What do I do with the 14 minus y?
Plug it in for x.
Yeah, plug it in for x in this equation. Let's put the y first, and then here's the equivalent of x, 14 minus y. So I come up with 14y minus y squared equals 48. 14y minus y squared equals 48. So on the previous page we left off with 14y minus y squared equals 48. Like we did before, we can move everything to the right and have y squared minus 14y plus 48. You can use the quadratic equation or the quadratic formula, or you could try to factor it if you think that's possible. Are there two numbers that will multiply to give me 48 but add to give me a negative 14? What two numbers multiply to get 48 and add to get a negative 14? Do you remember the sign combinations here? If you have a minus there and a plus at the end, your two factors have to be of what sign? In other words, if I need two numbers that multiply to give me a positive, but they add to give me a negative, both numbers must be of what sign?
Negative.
Negative, that's right. So we can look at it like this. Instead of the quadratic formula, you can do y and y, and then both have to be minus that we put in there. 8 and 6, that's right. Negative 8 times negative 6 is positive 48, but they add to give you a negative 14. Now you can set each of these equal to 0 and solve, but the shortcut is this. Whatever that is, it's the opposite. So this is 8, and this one is 6. Alright, so let's put that back into what we had. We had 2x plus 2y equals, what was that, 28?
24.
It's 28. The other one was 24, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 28.
And then for the area, x times y is 48. Now sometimes you'll end up with a negative solution on some of these, maybe. And if that's the case, try the positive one first, but we have two positive solutions. If I put 8 and 6 in here, will it give me 48?
Yeah.
Yes, so that checks out. What if I put 8 here and 6 there? Yeah, 16 plus 12 is 28. So the question is, from the original one, even though I didn't put the text on this one, is which is the shorter side?
What?
The actual number, the length of the shorter side. 6, yes. So 6 is the actual answer. It's the length in feet of the shorter side. In this problem, you have a rectangle whose area is 150, and the perimeter is 50. Find the length of the shortest side. I wrote that backwards. Not HT, it should be TH. That's terrible. Length of shortest side. Do you want to do this one on your own, or do you want me to do it? I'm going to go ahead and work this one out with everybody, then the next one will be a practice. Alright, so we have an area, XY, that's going to be 50, and we have X, X, Y, and Y. And then for the perimeter, we add up all the sides, so that's 2x plus 2y equals 50, and there should be a 1 there. That's a 150 for the area. Alright, let's mess with this one here and set it equal to x. To do that, we get 2x by itself on the left, move the 2y over, change the sign, and then divide everything by 2 to get rid of this number next to the 2. So 25 minus y. What we must do with that is plug this in to there in the area formula. So xy equals 150. We'll put y first and then the x part next, 25 minus y. We've inserted this into there. And once we do that, we multiply through by y to get 25y minus y squared equals 150. And we'll carry that over to the other page so we can have more room. Where we left off was 25y minus y squared equals 150. So let's move everything to the right to have y squared minus 25y and plus 150. If you do this using the quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, you must have the values for a, b, and c. a is 1, b is negative 25, and c is 150. That came from there. There's a 1 there. Negative 25, 150, a, b, c. Plug them in. So negative b would be a negative 25. And then b squared is a negative 25 squared minus 4 times a is 1, c is 150. And then all of that over 2 times 1. Everybody still with me? You see where I'm at?
Yeah.
Alright, music, you still with me? Alright. So now, simplify it. That double negative is 25. And this is 625. 4 times 150 is 600. And on the bottom, 2 times 1 is 2. So inside here, 625 minus 600 is how much? $625 minus 600? 25, yeah. So we'll continue this on to the next page over there. We have 25 plus or minus the square root of 25, and all of that over 2. What's the square root of 25? 5. So 25 plus or minus 5 over 2. And from there you have 2 problems to do. 25 plus 5 over 2 and 25 minus 5 over 2. This one is 30 over 2. This one is 20 over 2. So that would give us answers of 15 and 10. We have to check those with the original setup that we had. Remember, we had the rectangle like this, x, x, y, and y. The area was 150. If I multiply these two numbers together, here and here, do I get 150? Yes. And the perimeter of the rectangle, the perimeter was equal to 50. So if I add up 15, 15, 10, and 10 for all of the sides, does that give me 50?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's it. So which one is the shorter side? 10. 10 is the answer to the whole problem. Here's an explanation of where we left off, and instead of deciding to use the quadratic formula, we'll use the factoring. So we still move everything to the right and come up with y squared minus 25 plus 150. If you're going to factor this, you've got to be on the lookout for two numbers that multiply to give you 150 but add to give you a negative 25. So if you think of the factors of 150, you've got 1 and 150, 2 and 75. Just right off the top of my head, 3 and 50. I don't think 4 is going to go in there evenly, but you can have a 5 and a 30. Let's see, will 6 go in there evenly? I'm not sure. We'll have to type it in. 150 divided by 6. Yeah, it'll go in 25 times. 7 won't. I don't think 8 will. I don't think 9 will, but 10 will. You'll have 10 and 15. Recognize that if you have a minus plus combination in your equation, that your factorization is going to have to be minus minus, because two negatives multiply to give you a positive and two negatives add to give you a negative. So knowing that your two factors have to be negative, which pair of numbers in here would add up to give me 25, a negative 25? 10 and 15, but remember they have to be negative. So once you do that, technically what you're doing is setting each quantity equal to 0 and solving. So you just move it to the right and it changes signs.
So once you get your answer, just get rid of the negatives.
Yeah.
Or change it to a negative. Can that happen too?
Yes. Yes, that's right.
And one more step.
We from the beginning of that last problem, we had an area equal to 150 and a perimeter equal to 50. And we know that from the rectangle, we have two sides that are x and two sides that are y. X times y would give us the area, and x plus y would give us the perimeter. And if we simplify this, we have 2x plus 2y equals 50. And we're solving this one for x. So we divide everything by 2 to get 25 minus y. What we did is we plugged this, which is equivalent for x, into x for the area formula. So that's why we came up with writing the y first, y times the quantity 25 minus y equals 150. Yeah, because if you write it like this, 25 minus y, and then put a y there, it's still correct, but it tends to throw people off if they put it on the right. More mistakes are made there than they are if you keep it in a normal way.